What's up, everyone? Scott from DriveAndReview.com, sitting in a 2020 Porsche Macan base model in Hawaii. This is really nice. This is my first time driving a Porsche. Actually, quick edit here. I know I mispronounced Porsche right there, and I'm going to mistakenly do it again more in this video, so please don't hate me. Thank you. Actually, this is the second time ever that I've been in a Porsche, which says a lot about me as a car guy. I know it's shameful to admit, but anyway, yeah, this is my first impressions driving a Porsche, and it is nice. This is really cool. It's a rental car. I picked it up from the Honolulu airport. I'm at the North Shore of Oahu right now. So yeah, I drove it up here. It took about 30 minutes, and I got to know this thing pretty well. And even though I don't like SUVs, I have to admit, I kind of like this. This is really nice. The thing that I really like about it, first impressions, the thing that hits me the most is how low you sit. This is not like a typical crossover style or just a normal SUV where you're sitting so up high. I feel like I'm sitting really, really low. The window sills are really high, the dashboard's really high. I'm 5'11", and I feel like I can almost barely see over all this stuff. I'm sitting so low in the car, and there's no way to adjust the seat to come up. Actually, there is a little bit, and that's a little bit better. And that leads me to another good point, is that it's really easy to get comfortable in here. And not only do you sit really low, it feels like a sports car, it really does feel like you're driving something a lot smaller, which I like, because I don't like big cars. And I was a little bit apprehensive about renting this thing. I like this. This does not feel like a big honking vehicle. So anyway, as I said, this is the base model Macan. It has the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. I gotta tell you, it's not slow. It's not fast, but it's not slow. It's kind of hard to drive fast here on the island of Oahu, but I've had my moments getting up here, and it moves. It moves really, really well. And there's really nothing bad I can say about this thing feeling too big or too slow. Another thing that I think is worth noting is that the center of gravity in this thing feels so low that going around corners does not feel like an ordeal at all. Normally, a vehicle of this type, it'll roll in the corners and you're sliding all over the place. This thing stays really, really planted, which is another reason why I really like this. I wasn't expecting to like this, I'll just say that. But I do, and while I do like it, I will say that there are some things that I don't like about it. I think it's about 50-50, the things that I like and I don't like. So the best way to tell you everything that I like and I don't like is actually to go for a drive. Fortunately, it's not going to be a high-speed drive. I am at the North Shore here at, I think it's Halaiwa, and it's basically city. Except for this spot right here. This is a state beach park of some kind. It's really nice, but yeah, let's go for a drive, get the seatbelt on, and we'll go cruising. Another interesting takeaway from driving this away from the airport was that I thought this was a V6. And, you know, I'll fully admit, I know nothing about the Porsche Macan. I know nothing about Porsche in general. It's not really my thing, but I assumed this had a V6, just the way it sounded and how much torque it felt like it had. But it's a 4-cylinder. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, and it doesn't sound like a 4-cylinder. There's so much torque that it's really deceptive, and it's really, really nice. All right, so as I pull out into the main road here, there's something else worth bringing up, and that is the blind spots. So the blind spots in this thing are horrible. So looking back, if I have to look back that way, with the seats and the B and the C pillars, you can't see around them. It's a little bit of a problem. It's certainly not the worst car that I've driven in terms of having really bad blind spots, but it's up there. It's really not good, actually. I'd hate to drive this thing in someplace like New York City or something where you're always looking over your shoulder and you need to look around in all directions. This would not be the vehicle for that. Okay, as we're going through all these city streets here, something else worth bringing up is that This is a rental car, which I've already mentioned. It's got 17,131 miles on it. And think about that. This is a car on the island of Oahu, small little island, and it's got over 17,000 miles. It's been driven. It's been driven hard. It's been beat, and it kind of shows. I was expecting this thing to be a little bit tighter than it is, but there are so many creaks and rattles that it seems like not a Porsche. It's not the quality that I would expect from a high-end auto manufacturer such as Porsche. Nice cool old bridge here. Yeah, now we're into the downtown area of Haleiwa. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not, but close enough, right? You can't hear all those creaks and rattles, but trust me, they're there. I mean, overall, it's fairly tight. I mean, it's not like this thing is completely falling apart, but it's dirty and it's creaky and rattly, and it's a rental car. It feels like a rental car. And based on what I'm feeling as I'm driving around, it gives me a good sense of how this thing is going to hold up in the real world as a daily driver. I mean, it's doing okay. It's definitely not holding up the way I would want it to hold up if it was my car. I'd be a little bit disappointed after spending all that money and just having it completely, it's not falling apart, but it's just not what I was expecting. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, quick acceleration here. I will say that's not slow. That's not slow. So, all right, here we go. Foot to the floor. Wow, feels good. Pedal shifters are excellent, by the way. That was very, very responsive. No lag at all. Well, okay, some lag, very little lag. It's not like some of the older 10-year-old General Motors products where you wait 4 seconds for it to shift. This actually shifts pretty well. I'll do it again here. So downshift. So we're in fourth, third. Hit it. It's instant. That's nice. That's really, really nice. I'm liking that a lot. So I think this is the highest speed that I've hit so far in this review, in this drive. As I said, it's not easy to go fast here on the island of Oahu, but in terms of cruising, which is what I'm doing today, this is a pretty good cruiser. It's a little harsh though, at least if you're comparing it to other typical SUVs of this size. It's a little harsh. It feels very sports car-ish, which makes me wonder if the Macan is this harsh, how harsh is the Cayenne? And as we all know, the Cayenne is the spicy version of the Macan, or at least the spicy Porsche SUV. So, oh, going around a tight corner here. God, it's just so flat. It's shocking to me every time I do that. It's just so flat around the corners. It's just amazing. Now we're back in city traffic. If you call the North Shore of Oahu a city, I guess you can with all this stuff around here. Okay, so let's just wrap this up. Pros and cons. A pro definitely would be how it feels so much like a sports car. This does not feel like a giant SUV. Another pro would be the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It's the base engine, but I think it's more than enough for daily driving. It's peppy, it accelerates hard. You can't even tell it's a turbo. You can't even tell it's a 4-cylinder. So I would definitely get this engine if I bought a Macan. If I wanted to save some money, that would be good. I like the driving position. That's another really good thing. It feels like a sports car. The cockpit is very Porsche. You've got that tight gauge cluster here, and then the center console that wraps or flows down from the center, the nav screen. I'm liking that a lot. And yeah, a con. Oh, sounded like a pun there. A con. I didn't say Macan, I said a con. The cons, let's say that. I think there's more cons than there are pros, now that I think about it. The biggest con, most definitely, are the blind spots. Looking around the vehicle, trying to get a line of sight outside when you're merging into traffic, it's really hard to see, and I don't care for that at all. Another con, definitely, is build quality. I expected more from Porsche. Maybe my expectations were set too high, I don't know. I was expecting it to feel far more solid, and the fact that I hear any creaks and rattles at all, despite how much this has been abused as a rental car, it's still shocking, and you know, I don't know, maybe I need to reset my expectations. That's fine, I'm willing to do that. And then the final question is, would I personally purchase a 2020 Porsche Macan of my own? Before this drive, I would have said absolutely not. There's no way. This is not my type of vehicle at all. I don't like SUVs, but this thing doesn't feel like an SUV. I really enjoy how it feels like a sports car. Sitting so low, you got the dashboard and everything just completely wrapped around you, and it's just a really good feeling vehicle that is highly deceptive, at least in terms of overall size. So anyway, I'm gonna park here by the beach, and we're gonna end this review with some scenery. That's nice. And I will say, too, that this is not the car you want to be driving around Hawaii, I think. I mean, it's a good cruiser. I will say that, but I really want to get this thing out on the open road. I want to drive it at higher speeds, and it's just not going to happen today. So, I don't know. At least now I got a sense that maybe I do want to try a newer version of the Macan, just to see what that's like. Because if the 2020 version is this good, how good are the new versions? So that's something to think about. Anyway, I've got more information over on my blog, driveandreview.com. I'm going to do a full written review of this thing. I'm also going to list out all of the pros and cons in greater detail than I did here in this video. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely go and check that out. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.